What is going on, you guys? This is Tim Odell with OdellCompleteConcrete, and today I'm taking on another artificial turf job that me and Sam completed on our days off. We're working with my dad. In this project, it's roughly about 270 square feet. It was a nice little job me and Sam secured and completed before we started our next job. So what I'm going to be doing for this job is I'm going to be going down about 3 inches in total for this artificial turf job. The reason I'm taking out 3 inches of dirt is because I'm going to be bringing a more suitable base for the artificial turf for it to lay on top of. It's going to be a 1/8 crushed recycled concrete aggregate, which is great for the artificial turf because once you wet it and compact it, the base will start to form back to how it once was because there's still a small amount of cement left in that recycled concrete base. Plus, since the last artificial turf job that I did, I used a 3/4 inch rock rather than this 1/8 concrete recycled base, which does make a big difference when laying it down flat. It makes your job so much easier. So what I'm using is a 4-foot grading rake to help get everything level, and then I go back with the 4-foot Milwaukee level, making sure I'm getting a proper slopage to the artificial turf. And then what we're doing over here is we put a form board behind the concrete recycled base that we're bringing in because the homeowner wanted a little flower bed about 18 inches off the wall right in front of or right behind the artificial turf. So we threw that in for him. So here we are using our 100-pound plate compactor. Passed over this roughly about 3 or 4 times just till we know that we got a nice strong sturdy base. And then we also go back with our tamper to tamp all the edges where the plate compactor just couldn't quite get close enough. Now I brought my buddy out here, Edgar, to help me install the 270 square foot artificial turf in the backyard. He has just about 10 years of experience doing artificial turf, so whenever I get a chance to bring him out, I usually do. Edgar decided to do straight seams for this artificial turf job, and the reason for that is because the homeowner actually didn't order us enough artificial turf from the beginning. I mean, he was close, but we were thinking we might be able to make it, but at the same time we were thinking, hey, there's a chance that we're gonna have to go get more artificial turf. So we went straight seams instead, thinking, we'd make it rather than our normal zipper style seams, which take more square footage to do because you got to cut more of the artificial turf out that you end up not using. So that's why we didn't go with our normal seam cutting. And then right here, what you can see Edgar doing is he snapped a line across the artificial turf because he's cutting across the sewed in seams of the artificial turf blades, and that's a little more challenging. So what he did was he snapped the line and followed the line so that he could have a straight cut for every cut he made. So what we're doing here is I'm going to show you guys how to hide our 6-inch galvanized nails that help hold down the artificial turf from moving or coming up off the concrete recycled base or whatever type of base you use for putting your artificial turf in. But the main thing is, when you're trying to hide the nails, you want to peel back any of the artificial turf blades touching the nail with another nail you use, and then start to pound it in. And if you catch any artificial turf blades, just try to pick them out with your nail, and that usually does the trick. Another thing Edgar is trying to show us is that if we were to put these two artificial turfs really nice and flush against each other, once you put the staples in and use the knee kicker to really straighten that artificial turf out, it's gonna stretch it a little bit and really flush those seams up against each other, creating like a little mountain or mohawk. So it's better to cut them a little extra and leave like an 1/8 inch to a 1/4 inch gap between them, because once you start kicking towards them with the knee kicker, it stretches them to give the seam a more seamless look rather than having a little mountain or mohawk deal going on with that straight seam. Now, the way Edgar cuts the artificial turf is he pretty much just puts his blade on top of whatever edge he's cutting off of and just follows it with his blade flush against it, so that he gets pretty much a perfect cut and lines right up against the edge. As you can see, it's lining up pretty nicely. And then when it comes to something where you can't just lay your blade flat against something and follow the edge, he'll use his fingertips pretty much. He'll pull the artificial turf back, run his fingers to the bottom of the dirt, and then make the cut and double check, making sure that it's nice and flush against that edge, which is the wall right there. Here's another nice little trick that Edgar showed me, is when you're cutting something or cutting the artificial turf around something that's rounded, to get nice clean cuts and to follow the rounded object of whatever you're following it around, cut the artificial turf in about 4 to 5 inch sections, depending on how rounded the object is that you're going around and how wide it rounds for. But this is how we did it to get around this little planter bed wall. And then he just put his fingers to the bottom of the dirt, flushing it nice and close to that wall. So what we're doing right now is we're just putting our 6-inch staples in. They're also galvanized staples, and you roughly space them about 1 inch apart. I mean, the more staples the better, because then you got a nice stronger seam that's not gonna let the turfs pull away from each other. And then I mean, it's a little more tricky pulling the artificial turf blades away from the staples, since there is 2 points where the staple goes through the artificial turf. So it's a little more of a detail work, but you definitely want a good amount of staples in your seams so they don't pull away from each other. And make sure that your each side of the staple is getting each side of the turf when putting it in. Here's the other side of the artificial turf we were installing. This was roughly right about the time we found out that we had to go get more artificial turf. I mean, that last little sliver was about it that we're putting in right now. It was a bummer, but we had to make the call and go hunt down this exact match of artificial turf, which wasn't easy because the homeowner actually got this from Lowe's, and typically it takes about 2 weeks to get your artificial turf delivered to Lowe's. Luckily, the supplier that supplies Lowe's with the artificial turf was Tiger Turf, and I go directly to Tiger Turf, so I just went straight there and picked up the artificial turf, which was the last roll that they had, or that they actually could sell to me, rather than having to ship it to Lowe's to sell through them. So I got very lucky. And what we're doing right now is we're just standing all the artificial turf blades up and using a blower to blow any of the artificial turf blades that might have gotten loose on the seams, get them out of there because they're useless now. so we can have a nice clean look. It's important to sand all the artificial turf blades up before you put the sand infill in, because when you stand them all up, the sand infill will penetrate through the artificial turf more easily and in the crevices and cracks of pretty much at the base of the blades to hold them up nice and straight. So here's Edgar putting in all the sand infill. We used a pet-friendly infill and also a little bit of silica, so a little bit of a mixture. The pet-friendly infill helps with the odors. And then also, just a little tip trick. Typically what you guys want is about 1 pound of sand infill for every 1 square foot. So that's pretty much the calculations for figuring out how much sand infill you would want for your artificial turf job. And then once you get all the all the sand infill in, you just go over it again with the power sweeper, even everything out, make sure everything's nice and looking good. Really make sure you hit those seams so that they blend really nicely together. And like I said before, guys, I would recommend doing a zipper style seam rather than the straight seams, because the straight seams are always more noticeable. I mean, I'm sure there's even more ways to do seams, and if you guys have other techniques and more creative or better ideas for putting seams in, let me know, guys, because I'm always looking for new ideas on how to do a job better. And then this is the final step. You pretty much just tuck all of the edges in right between the base and the concrete. Just really gives your artificial turf a nice clean look and also helps prevent any weeds from growing up. So that's pretty much the job, guys. I hope you guys liked it, and you know, if I could have done this video any better, just let me guys know what I could have explained better. So I hope you guys enjoyed it though, and if you guys did, just like, share, subscribe. I really appreciate it. I know my dad will. And we got another project coming to you guys real soon that we're working on. It's a pretty big one, probably about 25 yards of concrete, guys, so stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram, because I'm always posting pictures and stories of what we're doing on the job daily. Typically, I try, guys. I'm trying to get better. But have a good one, guys. Appreciate it.